Bench Opinions. Three idiots with amateur analysis.
Welcome to Bench Opinions. We are going to do a quick recap. Well, not even that quick. Maybe a little bit longer. Maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Recap of the week.
Yeah.
It's been quite an eventful week for you, Dominic.
Birthday. Birthday week. Really good. Thank you. It was very nice. Klaus and a bunch of friends surprised me. We played some golf on Monday on my birthday. But I was very quickly reminded that I'm getting older by pulling a muscle or something in my neck. So it's good that the world keeps you humble, you know?
Just making sure that you don't get, what is it? Making sure you don't run before you walk.
Yes.
Or stroller before you run.
Yeah. The devolution has begun.
It's downhill from here, buddy boy.
Anyway, but a great day, so that was good. Yeah.
And then you said we surprised you.
That's cool. I was very much surprised. Klaus pulled off a Oscar-winning performance to fool me into not suspecting anything.
The funny thing is that so I was in comms with Dominic's girlfriend Sonia, and she was like, we need to delay. Somehow stall the guy. And after the round of golf that we played in, it's not even Potsdam, but it's outside of Berlin, the clubhouse was closed. And that was my number one tactic of how we were going to sort of delay it a little bit. Yeah. And then I actually forgot to message her on the way home. So I only realized when we were like half an hour out. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to come up with an idea of how to get you to go for a drink somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we know that I have a rubber arm, so.
Because originally the plan was I was just going to say, Sonia said I should come up for a drink with you guys. So, and then get into the house that way.
Understood.
This way I had to then try and race over and beat you there. But
yeah, you did very well though. And big shout out to my friends. I mean, Costa listens to this as well. I think Brian sporadically listens to it as well. Lou definitely doesn't listen to it. So, but I'll hopefully Brian passes on the message. But yeah, it was a good day.
Besides getting a little bit older, is there anything that stood out to you this week?
You mean in life in general?
Oh, an observation.
Actually, it comes from the class in which I hurt myself this morning. And we do talk about workouts a lot. And I think it's because you're in such a closed space and people, So different to the boys, I do group workouts, so HIIT trainings. I prefer it. I feel like I can hold myself more accountable that way. And I like the intensity of them. But because of that, you're just in a room with 40 people working out on a pretty close space. And today I went to a HIIT class and I was running a little bit late thanks to some traffic in Berlin. So I was kind of really sort of just had the blinkers on, just trying to get into this class on time.
Coming in hot.
Yeah, so I got in on time and kind of managed to find myself a spot and kind of had just sort of put my heart monitor on and I was like ready to go, you know. And I look to my right and I see this lady essentially like doing a human pretzel, rocking back and forth while the coach is explaining everything. And my first thought was like, fucking hell, okay, we get it, you know, you're flexible, you're fit. She was ripped to shreds as well. She was super ripped. I couldn't see her face or anything. And then she eventually got up and while the coach was explaining, walked past me and proceeded to go to a next station and started like doing exercises and stuff.
Okay.
If her breasts are real, then I'm Mother Teresa, is all I'm saying. So she gets up, tiny lady, huge like silicone situations. Okay. Very bizarre. Wore as little clothing as you could humanly possibly wear in a workout situation. I'm no hater. People must wear what they want. But we start the workout and she proceeds to continue the path that she did in the beginning, which was she did whatever the fuck she wanted.
I think you need to give a bit of a backstory as to what kind of a class that you go to.
It's a class. There's stations and you have to follow kind of the stations and you go in a clockwise order and it's like, it's all predefined and you have a group that you're with and if you're normal, you just stick to the group. And sometimes there's a rare occasion where someone has an injury or maybe they don't feel like doing a certain exercise that they'll maybe modify the exercise at their station. But it is quite rare, actually extremely rare, that someone decides to just treat it like a normal gym.
And that's what she was doing.
This lady was like, cool. And she zigzagged across the class, like doing, confusing the people she was working out with because people would be like, oh, am I doing this wrong? She would also then at some stations just stand there and like dance to the music.
Okay, that's really strange.
So I was all sorts of kinds of angry, but the lovely Irish coach we had seemed to be like, out of sight, out of mind. Ignorance is bliss.
Okay.
I'm going to ignore it.
I was going to ask, was anything done?
Yeah, I just don't fucking understand people, man. Just fucking do the thing or just go to gym.
Maybe she gets a high from it. Maybe like really...
Like her rebellious streak comes out.
Exactly.
She's like suffers from OCD outside of any gym activity. So
I'm going to do the opposite of what is being told.
I'm such a rebel. Yeah, very bizarre lady. Bizarre lady.
But people at the gym are always a bit weird.
Yeah, the gym is like one thing though, but with shared experiences, I think it's a bit difficult, right?
Yeah.
You got to maybe then just pick a different thing.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that, to be honest.
But then also at the end of it, like in 2 weeks I'll have forgotten about her, and she just seemed generally bizarre. So maybe it was just bizarre.
Well, maybe she's going to come back.
Maybe.
Is this what caused the strain in your neck? You whipping around to see her silicone?
No. That was me just being tired and the wrong movement. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, sticking on the theme of sport, I had an observation that at the same time is also a compliment, and it goes out to my dad. My dad, as you know, is like super addict when it comes to cycling. He loves his cycling, mountain biking, race, like normal road racing, and he does a whole bunch of different races in South Africa. And he had always said to me, he's like, "Oh, Klaus, if you ever do another triathlon," I mean, not triathlon, we do like the Olympic distance triathlon. He's like, "Oh, if you ever do that, just let me know." And I've never, ever, ever thought of my dad as being a runner.
Okay.
I have never seen the man.
In that case, the apple also doesn't necessarily fall too far from the tree.
Well, that's why I thought this was a genetic thing. I am my father's son.
Yeah.
Then, this was about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, my mom posts a photo in the family chat. She's like, "Oh, look, here's dad crossing the finish line." I was like, "Finish line of what?" She's like, "Oh, no, 21 kilometers.
A half marathon.
I was like, "That's a very short cycling race." No, there's the man fucking jogging along.
Jesus.
And I was like, at the tender age of 64, the man just knows how to, 65, the man just knows how to show me one up.
Bro, I mean, a half marathon, I have very many issues with half marathon, or at least that stopped me from doing them.
You're not 65 yet.
No. Well, no. The first one is, that's a long fucking time doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And
it's like a 2-hour run.
Yeah. If you're good, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
If you're not so good, it's even longer.
Yeah.
That's the first problem. The second problem is that you're like, from what I hear from people that do it, that even if they train, you're like finished for like 2 days afterwards.
And we're talking about a half marathon.
Yes, a half marathon.
Yeah. Never mind the full marathon.
So when people tell me they're doing a half, I'm like, good for you. I do my 10-kilometer race with Maxi and his uncle once a year.
Good enough.
And that is perfectly fine. And I feel like that's a nice distance that if you really do want to do, chase a certain time, 2 months before, you just run a little bit more and you can try and get your time down. And if you have no interest in doing anything, you just cruise, and it's a distance that you can finish. And most people are like, whoa, 10K is nice, bro. Even though I think more people should run a bit more.
Yeah.
But 21 is pretty crazy.
21 is crazy. So shout out to my dad.
But how did
That's
this?
impressive.
But he obviously trained, right?
I don't know.
Oh wow.
I've got.
You're gonna have to get to the bottom of that.
I've got no details on that, on how that came about, how the training went. Nothing. And people don't say I don't communicate with my parents. I do chat to my parents, but we just tend to talk about other things. And I did forget to ask him the last time I spoke to him.
Okay.
But I'll get back to you on how that came about.
Yeah, you have to, and you definitely have to report back, because that's very impressive.
Remember when Maxi went through this idea?
Oh yeah.
Of wanting to do a marathon.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a half marathon. It was a full marathon.
No, I was quite close to the Prague marathon. I think it was supposed to be, right?
Something like that. And he was like, no, we're going to sign up for the marathon. And I was like, dude, I I can't even run 10 kilometers. How am I
No.
supposed to run 42? He's like, no, we'll do it. And I remember he approached our one friend, and he approached you, and you're like, hell no. He approached me, and I was like, hell no. He went to our friend Reggie, and Reggie, bless his soul, the guy thought he was talking about a half marathon. He was like, oh, we could probably swing a half marathon.
Yo.
And then I was like, Reggie, it's not half, it's double. And he's like, no, I'm out. And lo and behold, Maxi never did
Luckily,
the marathon.
he's come around and understood that was verging on psychotic.
Has he accepted
I think
that?
so. I spoke. He's like, that was poor. He said it was poor. You hand up accountability, and I hope he still feels that way. I think also it's people that run the Comrades. For anyone that doesn't know what the Comrades is, it's an ultra marathon that happens in South Africa between two cities, Port Elizabeth and Durban, every year. And it's quite undulating, and the one year they run up, so from south to north to Pietermaritzburg, and then
I was going to say earlier you said Port Elizabeth.
Sorry, Pietermaritzburg. Sorry, it's probably got another name now, but I don't know.
Pietermaritzburg?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anyway,
I was going to make something up, but I don't.
If it does, the town formerly known as Pietermaritzburg, sorry, not Port Elizabeth, and then if the next year they run it from Pietermaritzburg down to Durban, which apparently is way more taxing on your knees, because you're running downhill for what is 92 kilometers, I believe, is the distance.
92 kilometers, yeah. It is, but there's so much heritage in that race.
But then
really impressive.
you're just not well. You can tell me you're not well. You can tell me what you want. And I don't mean it in a mean way, because we have friends that have done it. I mean it in like you've got the dog in you, and it's a different kind of dog. My dog is like a fucking miniature schnauzer. Your dog is like got rabies. If you run the Comrades.
So like, the Comrades is unreal, right? That's insane.
Just for context, you have to run marathons to qualify for the Comrades.
Yeah. You can't just rock up and
you have to run marathons to qualify for the Comrades.
And you have to run a certain time.
Yeah.
Because you can't have some dude running for 50 hours.
Yeah. What is the cutoff? 12 hours, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
12 is the cutoff, yeah.
So it is nuts. An ultra marathon, unreal.
Yeah.
Then the next step up is these trail running.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Things, right? Where you've got like 11 kilometers of elevation over 160 kilometers and stuff like that, which is bonkers. Now I've got a mate who does it. It's unreal. On top of that, then you've got your Ironman.
Yeah, Ironman's wild as well.
And that I also just don't get. Like, it's how you can be on a bicycle on your feet or swimming for 12 hours to 16 hours is unfathomable to me. And the problem is that it's not, when we're talking about like a half marathon or even a marathon, you train and you train hard, and like there's a training schedule, and on this day you run 5 kilometers and that day you run 15. And it's all about like, the way you warm your body up to these distances. But when you do an Ironman, you're doing that training for 3 different disciplines, right? It's all encompassing. It in terms of your life. You have to live a certain lifestyle for 4 months leading up to this thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously once you've done that, you're so hooked that you sign up for the next one and you do the next one. And it just becomes this all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what was my feeling after the last High Rocks, and that's why I'm not doing this next one, which you are, but you're doing it in a partner.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine, because you've done one already.
One, yeah.
So, and you got through it with very little, like, targeted preparation.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I can just tell you, like, the solo one is, it's
a different beast.
4 months of it's tough. You have to kind of get into that mode, and you just know that it's going to be absolutely terrible if you don't get ready.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the moment, it's not fun at all. Afterwards, the sense of accomplishment is amazing. And I think that's what those endorphins is what keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
I think it's that need to feel, the feeling that you get across the finish line. That's something that stays with you, I think.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last thing we can talk about is a lot of public holidays in Germany this time of year. I think a lot of all over the world, actually. South Africa as well. This week was also a week with 2 public holidays back home in South Africa. We have May Day tomorrow, which is also celebrated in South Africa.
but it's celebrated very differently here in Berlin.
Yeah. Here in Berlin, it's just a lot of drugs, a lot of partying, a lot of public parks taken over by techno.
To give it a little bit of context, the left-wing sort of fraction of society use May Day as a massive protest. And so certain parts of Berlin are completely overrun by police because these guys are setting dustbins on fire, cars on fire, buildings on fire.
Yeah.
So they need to sort of manage that. And then the other part of Berlin, the other fraction of society in Berlin just goes out and has one massive party. As you say, all the parks have just got DJ stations set up everywhere, and it's all unofficial, right? It's all just a bunch of random people setting up their generators and blasting music, but it's a lot of fun. Obviously, a lot of drugs are taken by a lot of different people, so you got to.
They're harmless. Like a lot of them are harmless. They're just a bit.
Well, I wasn't going to say you got to watch out. I was going to say you just got to take it with a pinch of salt.
Exactly.
Some people are like,
they're not with us, as you say.
They're not with us. So Jesus has taken the wheel.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fun in the sun. So
have you got a plan for tomorrow?
I've got a couple of options.
Okay,
one guy who's never actually been here for the 1st of May, a South African friend. He's quite keen to go out and explore it. But I know you and Zonia are
I'm
vacating.
I'm going on the path of what my body has told me this week.
Okay.
I think I'm too old for it every year. So, and last year was a big one. So this year I'm gonna just take it easy. We might head out of town, like just drive somewhere an hour out and just go and have a beer and
Life's too short, Dominic. You're gonna miss all the good parties.
Well, it was that or like attack the police, and I was kind of it was 50-50. So as a true like man of the people.
Yeah.
But it was close. I had to have a bit of argument with Sonia, but we decided that we're gonna go have a beer somewhere nice.
It's better for both of you.
Exactly. And then Friday's a bridge day, which is also nice because I think everyone kind of tends to take it a little bit more chilled.
And you're going to go play some golf.
That is true. Yeah,
nice.
That is true.
Should be good.
It should be, yeah. Hopefully, Klaus can report back about the lunacy that was the 1st of May, since Max and I won't be there. So I look forward to those stories. And thank you for joining us for another week, I guess.
Absolutely. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll check you next week.
Arrivederci.
Bye-bye.